Happy Sunday night, guys. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Welcome to our Sunday night live stream show brought to you by Hubbard's Marina. I'm Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking about tons of nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. Lots of cool information tonight, some great videos for you, and we're excited for another great show tonight. So hopefully you are too. Remember to comment where you're watching from. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up for us on YouTube. And make sure to subscribe to Hubbard's Marina's channel. We do this live stream show every Sunday night. If you're not watching this live, if you're not watching this Sunday, December 16th at 8:30 p.m., go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. We're going to be about 5 to 7 minutes here before the video starts. So go ahead and skip forward about 7 to 10 minutes. You'll see the video clip on and you can start watching from there. If you are watching this live, just bear with us, guys. Probably about 8:35 p.m. we're going to get this rolling. So we're going to go ahead and clip over to Facebook and get that live now. Again, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Welcome to our Sunday night live stream show. How y'all doing out there on Facebook and YouTube? Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, ready for our Sunday night live stream show. So it's going to be a great night today. We've got a great show lined up for y'all, and hopefully you're ready for a great time and lots of nearshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. This is a live Q&A show, so we're here to answer your questions. We're here to give you fishing tips, tricks, and more. Any questions you have on weather, fishing, anything nearshore and offshore fishing related, we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to give you a fishing report. We're going to talk to you about what's been going on here at Hubbard's Marina, what's coming up here at Hubbard's Marina. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about how the red tide is gone. We're going to talk about live bait. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. The gag bite is super hot. We've got tons of great gag grouper photos to show you from this past week's trips. And it's going to be a good show tonight. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Remember, please like this stream. Go ahead and give the stream or the video or the post a like or a thumbs up for us. Make sure you like our page or subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And make sure you share this video on your social media timeline or with your favorite fishing group. We're going to get rolling here probably about 8:35, so about 5 minutes here. If you're watching this live, just bear with us. Make sure to comment where you're watching from, share this video with friends, and give the video a like. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward about 5 to 6 minutes and you'll see the video start. The stream will begin shortly. Thing is going to roll until the video starts. You'll see my face pop up here, so make sure to just skip forward if you're not watching this live. If you're not watching this Sunday, December 16th at 8:30 p.m., you can skip forward. If you are watching this live, you got to bear with us. About 5 minutes, we'll get this video rolling. Remember to comment where you're watching from and click like on the stream and share the stream with your friends. Everybody's going to want to watch this show tonight. We got great photos, videos, and lots of tips and tricks coming at you. Then we're going to answer all your questions that you have. So great show lined up for y'all. I appreciate you spending your Sunday night with us. It's going to be about an hour show, so we're going to start about 8:35. We're going to wrap this up about 9:35. So hopefully you have some great questions for me, and hopefully you're ready for a good time. Because these shows are every week, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. for about an hour. We always show photos and videos from the past week and from our captains and crew. And then we always talk about what's going on, what's coming up. And then we answer your questions. So hopefully you have some nearshore and offshore fishing questions lined up for the second half of this video. If you don't worry about it. You got about 25-30 minutes. We're going to be talking about the weather and what's been going on and what we've been catching. So you got some time to think of your questions if you don't have them already lined up for us. But make sure to comment where you're watching from and give this video a like, and make sure to share this video stream with your friends and your fishing clubs and your fishing groups on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. We're going to get started here again about 8:35, y'all. Happy Sunday night. We have some beautiful weather coming up, some great fishing ahead the next couple days. We're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to be talking about how you can check the weather and how you can become a weather expert yourself. We're going to be talking a lot about fishing tips and tricks for this time of year, and a lot of other helpful information that hopefully you guys will enjoy. And then we're going to be answering your questions. So a great show lined up again. Going to be starting about 8:35. We just got a few little housekeeping items to take care of here first. And I'm just going to continue talking and killing time with you guys. And we're just letting a few more people join up here as well. Hopefully we'll have a decent crowd for this great event. Tonight, again, this live stream show happens every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. here on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook and Hubbard's Marina YouTube channels. We also share it on the Captain Dylan Hubbard page, Vibrations Tackle, Florida Fishing Radio page. So a few other Facebook pages share this video as well. So hopefully you're excited for a good show tonight. I know I am. And I know I have a lot of good stuff lined up for you guys. And the gag grouper bite is crazy right now. We're going to be talking about that, showing you photos. And we're going to be talking about how you can get on some gag grouper before the end of the year. A lot of great gag grouper trips still lined up. And again, we're going to be showing you those videos here. Just bear with us another couple minutes. We're going to get rolling and get started here in about 2 minutes. Just waiting for a few more people to join up. So I appreciate your patience. And I appreciate you hanging in with us, guys, and joining the show tonight. Hopefully you have some good questions. I am feeling better. Just had surgery and recovering from surgery here real slowly. Excited to be back in the studio tonight for a good show. And I'm excited you guys joined me. And I think we're about ready to roll here. So you guys ready? Are you ready? Am I sounding good? Make sure you comment. Let us know how we're sounding. Hopefully you can see me well, and hopefully you're ready for a good show tonight. I know we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. The gag grouper bite is stupid hot right now. Tons of gags. And we've got our Jameson ready to rock, and we have a good show. This show isn't going to be quite as colorful as last week's show. If you missed last week, we had Captain Frank in the studio, and we had a little too much fun. I paid for that the next day of work. So tonight we're going to have fun, but not as much fun as we did last week. For those of you who watched, I'm sure you enjoyed it. It was like an episode of Drunk History last week, I think. But first things first, we're going to talk about what we've been catching. The gag grouper bite, again, as I said a couple times, has been stupid right now. Just tons of gags. And the gag grouper bite should only be getting better and better. And let's show you some photos. Let's show you what we've been catching here. So without further ado, here are some photos from this past week's trip. This is Paul Early. He's one of our first mates on the hub, showing off some nice big gag grouper from the hub. I think this was an 8-hour private charter on the hub. They've been using double thread fins with the tail cut, 7 8/0 hooks, 80, 100-pound test to catch these gag grouper. Definitely been a good bite of gags on the hub. Captain Dave here. These photos are from Paul. His phone texts me very small photos, so they're a little grainy here. We got some better photos coming, but definitely some nice fish nonetheless. Maybe not the best photo quality, but some nice fish. This was a charter client. They wanted to go catch Goliath grouper and sharks. Well, first stop, they got a shark. Then they got on the Goliaths. They caught 3 Goliaths, and they were tired out. So Captain Dave then talked them into going gag hunting. And boy, did it pay off. They got some nice gag grouper on that hub trip. Not only did they get what the clients want, they got the sharks, they got the Goliaths, but then they went and caught some nice keeper gag grouper as well. So definitely some great fishing. Make sure as we start here, guys, we're going to show you some photos of what's been going on. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about what's upcoming. Then we're going to answer your questions. So make sure you get your questions lined up for us. And please make sure to comment where you're watching from. Share this video with friends and give this video a thumbs up or a like for us. I'd appreciate it. And this is the big fat one from that Hub 10-hour private charter with Captain Dave there. Big old gag grouper. So now we're going to show you the 12-hour extreme gags. The 12-hour extreme this past week got 20 keeper gag grouper. They had 12 people on the boat. That's a boat limit. So maximum gags on the boat would have been 24. They got 20. And they broke off a ton more. So they would have definitely had their boat limit plus more fish if they would have hooked or landed all the ones they hooked. But these gags are super aggressive right now. That water is cold. These gags are hungry, literally getting the gag grouper up to the surface. These gags are so hungry and so aggressive that we are seeing the gags come up to the surface and even hit flatline baits. So these gags are voracious right now, hungry. They're ready for you to come out and get them. This coming week, we have 10-hour all days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the Hub. They've sold out very quickly because of how awesome the gag bite is right now. But we've added a 12-hour extreme trip in for Tuesday. So if you want a chance to catch great fish like Carolyn Conrad did here from Manitoba, that's right, Manitoba, that's North Canada, came all the way down here and slammed this big old gag grouper on a boat full of guys. She's not a very large woman. She's a very short, very slim, slender lady, and she showed all those guys up and caught the biggest gag grouper on that recent 12-hour trip. She knows what she's doing. She uses the right tackle. She's got a low speed, or she's got a 2-speed reel that she uses in low speed. She's got a 100-pound main line, 100-pound fluorocarbon, big 8 or 9/0 circle hook. She was using the double thread fins with the tail cut. She was using butterfly big baits like the squirrel fish or the grunts. And then we're also using some live bait as well. On this trip where they caught 20 keeper gag grouper, they didn't have live bait. This was all done with dead bait and some of the butterflied mangrove snapper, or not butterflied mangrove snapper, butterfly gray snapper, also known as a white grunt. So catching a bunch of those big gags on butterflied grunts and butterflied sand perch and butterflied lizard fish. Lots of gag grouper on that 12-hour extreme. Again, we have a super light load coming up this Tuesday. There is the catch. Look at all those gags. Crazy trip. Captain Anthony is doing very well on the gag grouper. We're going to talk to him here and show you a video of Captain Anthony and all these gags that he's been catching. So let's go ahead and hear from Captain Anthony now. There we go. What's going on, Captain Anthony?
Hey guys, how's it going?
So we wanted to talk to you today a little bit about your Flying Hub 2 extreme trip you had last week. I know you guys killed the gags. How was it?
It was great fishing. We ended up with 20 keeper gags. We broke off probably about another 15. We got about 20 to 25 shorts. Just short, you know, they're about 23 3/4, so they'll be keepers here pretty soon. And that was without live bait. So we're going to have live bait, I hope, this whole week, and we're going to go out and kill them again.
Cool, man. So you got new extreme trips added this week. You got extreme trips on Tuesday and Wednesday, right?
Yes, we do, and both of them are going to probably go out with light loads. Wednesday is probably going to, it'll probably get about 14, 15 people. Tuesday right now, we're probably going to go out with about 9 people, so if you guys book, it's going to be a light load. It's going to be very fun. Put you guys on the fish. If you come, make sure you bring 100.
100. Definitely need that heavier tackle. Those gags are breaking us off like crazy. So you were 4 fish from a boat limit of gags on your last 12-hour extreme, right?
Yes, yep. We were. We also got shrimp. We were catching hogfish. We were catching mango snapper and yellowtail. So I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff to do too if you guys limit it out on grouper real quick.
Very cool. So for the gags, what tackle do you recommend exactly?
We're using 100-pound mono, and we're just doing 7/0 circles. We're doing double sardines right now, and we're butterflying the grunts up. and I'm hoping to have the live bait. So hopefully they're going to kick on that live bait.
Cool, man, cool. So the gag bite is hot. You got plenty of room Tuesday, and you got some room left Wednesday.
Yep.
Now, gag grouper season ends at the end of the year, so we got a bunch more extreme trips the week after Christmas too, right?
Yeah, I think we have 5, and we might be adding one on the 31st, so the very last day of gag season. I think I got to talk to Dylan about it and get us another trip on that day.
Yeah, and a lot of those trips before the 31st, the 27th, 28th, the 30th, they all have plenty of room left on them too. So
yep, some of them are filling up quick though, so if you guys want a spot, you guys got to jump on it quick.
Yep, book now. That is definitely the trick.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate your tips and tricks, Anthony, and hopefully we'll kill them again this week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
And well, yeah, I got a charter tomorrow, so I mean, I'll be catching more gags.
Yeah, you're fishing all week.
Yep, all week.
As long as the weather allows, right?
Yeah, all right. We got to pray for that.
Yes, sir. All right, thanks, Captain Anthony. I appreciate it.
Yep, anytime.
All right, guys. So that was Captain Anthony talking about his 12-hour extreme last week. Wednesday, they killed the gags. The gag bite is super hot, like I've been saying. Captain Anthony there to confirm it. And also, guys, we have other trips that are doing very well as well. We do have some weather concerns. We do have some live bait issues that we're working through. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. But we're going to hear now from Captain Joe. He ran the 10-hour all day this past week, this past Thursday. So let's hear from Captain Joe. Hey, Captain Joe. How are you today?
Good.
Good. So we wanted to talk a little bit about your fishing trips this past week. I know Wednesday and Thursday, the weather was really good and the fishing was hot behind that front. How'd you guys do out there?
We did great. I ran the 10-hour open boat on the Flying Hub 2. Was that Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Thursday. It was really good. We fished between 45 and 60-ish feet of water, and the gag bite was crazy. Every bait, every stop, it seemed like we were catching gags.
And it was a little bit bumpy behind that front, but you were able to overcome that and push in a little bit. And even in the shallow water, those gags are hot right now, right?
Yeah, we started out 22 miles, and it was pretty bumpy, so we pushed our way back into some shallow water, and yeah, the gag bite was crazy. Hogfish too.
What were you catching the gags on?
A mixture of both, the thread fins, and we had live bait this trip. They were eating the live bait too, but a lot of them were caught on the dead bait.
Now, Captain Dave says the double thread fins work really, really well for him. Were you guys trying that same method?
Yeah, we do that pretty often, but I've caught a lot of gags just on a single thread fin.
Nice. Were you using any of the gray snapper or lizard fish or squirrel fish you guys were catching out there?
Yeah, we fired down a few squirrel fish and got hit, but it seemed like they were working better when we butterflied them. We cut them up and cut the spine out. We caught a few grouper like that too.
Cool. So butterfly, deadbait, thread fins, pinfish, everything's working. The gag bite's hot, huh?
Yeah, we were fishing some ledges. It was so crazy. Every fish we caught was a gag grouper.
Wow.
Nothing in between. And a lot of them were short, and a few keepers each spot. We ended up with maybe 10 gags, but ledges, we were fishing, every fish was a gag grouper. It was unbelievable.
So the gag bite is just crazy hot. And it's time to get out there. I mean, this week we have beautiful weather. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What trips are you running?
I'm working on the Florida early this week, but I got a 10-hour on the Hub Wednesday, I believe.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
Very cool. Well, it should be a great week for fishing. Do you have any tips for these guys fishing for those gags?
Get out there and get them before the season closes. They're there.
Season closes
end of the year, right?
End of the year, December 31st.
So a couple more weeks. You guys got to get out there and get them. They're ready.
What trips do you recommend?
The all-day trips, 10 hours on the big boat or the Hub, and the 12-hour extreme.
Yeah, the 12-hour extreme's got lots of open spots this week.
All right. Anthony's crushing them big time. They got like 20+ head of gags their last 12 hours. So
dang,
it's good.
All right, man. Thanks, Captain Joe. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that was Captain Joe Drew talking about his 10-hour all day on the Flying Hub 2. Unfortunately, we don't have any photos from him from that trip, but they did very well on the gags on that trip as well. So 10 hours, 12 hours, private charters, whatever you want to do on the water, we've got a trip for you, and they're slamming the gags. Make sure to like this video, guys. Make sure to like the stream. Hopefully you enjoy our Sunday night shows. Make sure to share this with friends. Remember, this is an hour-long show, so we're going to go until about 9:35. This show is every Sunday night, so hopefully we'll see you next week as well. We're going to hear from Captain Dave right now about his hub trips lately, but I just want to make sure everybody's commenting where you're watching from, liking the video, and then get your questions ready, guys, because we're going to be talking questions and answers here at the end of the video. So get those questions ready for us. How you doing, Cam Dave?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about yesterday's hub trip you had. I know you guys did very well on the gags, and you caught some other big fish too. How was it?
Yeah, it was great yesterday. You know, after these fronts came through, we were anxious to get back out there, and yeah, they were on fire. As soon as we set the baits down, they were hitting them.
Now, I know we just started getting live bait again here today for the first time in a long time. Yesterday, you didn't have any live bait on your trip. What were you getting those gags to bite on?
Same thing I've told everybody. We're still using the Deans, sending down singles and doubles, and that's what they're hitting on. I've changed the leader size out. You know, I told everybody last couple trips, you know, we had a lot of break-offs with the 60s and the 80s. I actually started running 100 with the 7/0, but sending the Deans down. But they were so hungry. I was also sending down some of the squid, and they were just destroying anything that hit the bottom.
Nice, nice. Very cool. So what about the gray snapper or the white grunts? Are you still using those for bait as well?
I actually haven't used them, you know, and we did talk yesterday about some of the live bait coming in, so I'm kind of anxious to see, you know, what's going to happen when we get the live bait back on the boat. But yesterday I did experiment. They were on fire so hard. We tried a lot of different baits, and it didn't seem to matter what I sent down. They were coming up.
Now, I know the guests yesterday were a little bit more interested in catching the sharks and the Goliath grouper. You got a few of them too, huh?
Yeah, I was actually surprised. You know, they wanted a shark this time of the year. The shark bite's really slow. It's usually a summertime fish that we go after. But yesterday we did manage to get him a shark, and then we went after some Goliaths. And after he caught about 2 or 3 of those, he had enough and went back to catching gags.
Yeah, that hub does really well on those Goliaths and sharks. It's really cool. I mean, you could do a Goliath and shark trip in what, like 5 hours?
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all. I've got some good spots where they hang out. It doesn't take very long. Usually once that bait hits the bottom within 20 minutes, I usually got one on.
Yeah, and those Goliaths are a lot of fun to fight, right?
They are.
Not for us, though.
Not for us. I wanted the gag.
Yeah, so it's cool. You guys got gags, Goliaths, sharks, anything else going on out there?
You know, everything's biting. You know, after these fronts, everything's hot and on fire, and but I like those gags. We did pull up some red grouper yesterday, and naturally, you know, a lot of the grunts came up and black sea bass and stuff. And we're catching a lot of those fish because the gags are in so shallow right now. So again, 50, 60 feet of water, you know, is where I'm catching these fish at. So a lot of variety of fish down there.
Very cool, very cool. Now, as far as behind these fronts are concerned, I mean, you got to kind of time your trip this time of year, right?
You do, and you know, this time of year we know the fronts are going to come in. It's going to get a little rough out there, and season ends at the end of December, so you do want to, you know, time it correctly. And you know, it is what it is. You get out there. I'm willing to go out there 3, 4, 5 footers if I can get out there and get after them, but you do want to time it, and yeah.
Very cool. So after December 31st, gags close. In the beginning of January, February, March, we get to target those hogfish, and those hogfish are starting to bite better too, huh?
And they are. We always catch hogfish on our trips a lot of times and send down the shrimp, but you know, right now guys are really anxious to get into those grouper. Once we get our limit on board, then we'll go after hogfish. But yeah, after the first of the year, we'll definitely target them more.
Hogfish and red grouper after January 1st for sure. But now's the time to get the gags. And what trip length do you recommend on a hub private charter with you?
You know, I mean, I was catching them on the 5-hour there for a long time. But if you really want to go after them, you know, the 8 and the 10-hour trip is really the way to go. But at the same token, I mean, if 5 hours is all you can do, we'll get them on the 5 hours.
Yep, and we got plenty of private charter availability to fish with Captain Dave here at Hubbard's Marina. Thanks for checking us out today, Dave, and joining us for a video, and we'll see you again next week.
See you soon.
All right, so that was Captain Dave. He runs the hub and some of our 10-hour all days here at Hubbard's Marina. So just wanted to talk to him. You heard the bite is hot on the hub. It's hot on the Flying Hub 1, Flying Hub 2, our 10-hour all day, 12-hour extreme, everything. The bite is going very well right now, but it all depends on that weather, and that weather is such an issue this time of year, guys. So I want to show you how I check the weather, how I keep in track of what's going on with the weather, and how we at Hubbard's Marina communicate with you guys. So I want to show you this real quick. Again, hubbardsmarina.com. Once you go to hubbardsmarina.com, right here on our website, under fishing trips, you'll see all our different fishing trips and the private charters as well. But down here towards the bottom, you're going to see the weather links page. At the weather links page, this is going to have all the links, all the tools that I use, that our captains use to check the weather and stay tuned to what's going on. So the big thing going on right now, this is my favorite one at the bottom, guys, this ultimate weather and storm forecast. And this video will explain what you're looking for and how the weather affects fishing. So this video is really cool if you haven't seen it yet. But this website is called Mike's Weather Page. I love it. This is what we're looking at here, guys. This is the forecast for, let's see here. I guess this is today. So beautiful weather right now. We've got a high pressure approaching, nothing sitting on top of us. And then we've got that high pressure pushes in a little bit. This is going to be for Monday. And then Tuesday, that high pressure starts to move out of the way. And then we've got this little area moving towards us. And then this is what we're looking at here. I'm going to blow this up a little bit for you guys. So this is Wednesday. This first one right here is Wednesday. That high pressure is leaving the area, and now we've got a low pressure coming at us. This is Thursday right here, guys. This is the low pressure approaching. So as this low pressure approaches, unfortunately, we've got a little area of disturbance ahead of that front. So Thursday's weather might be a little rainy and turbulent because as this front pushes to the east, it's going to push swells out of the west. So we're going to have swells coming right at the west coast of Florida, and it's looking pretty rainy as well. So a lot of prefrontal activity. The problem is, you guys, if you watch my live stream shows in the morning, every morning I do a fishing and weather update. And we've been saying how the weather's been looking great Monday through Friday next week, Monday through Friday next week, weather's awesome. Well, unfortunately, this front was only supposed to extend to right here. It was going to move past us and not affect our weather. So the weather was looking great starting tomorrow all the way through this weekend. But this front has extended itself. It's even added more. I mean, this front is pushing all the way down into Mexico. So this is going to be a bad to the bone storm. And as this pushes east, it's going to put a lot of moisture on top of us. So that low pressure is serious. Look at that thing. That thing extends all the way down to Cuba. So this is for Friday. They're calling for 10-foot seas. 10-foot seas 10 miles from shore Friday. That's how bad this storm is looking right now. Now, this can all change. Again, this is 7 days out. Today's only Sunday, so this is Friday's advanced forecast. This just popped up to like 48 hours ago or less, so that could change quite a bit. But this is the current forecast. Then Saturday, a high pressure settles in behind that front. Sunday, that pressure is sitting here. So it should be nice. And that high pressure sitting here keeps that next cold front that's trying to come in on Sunday. It's going to keep it out away from our area. So Saturday, Sunday, behind that front, the weather should get much nicer. So long story short here, guys, hubbardsmarina.com, go to fishing trip weather links. You can pay attention to all this weather stuff. But the easiest one to understand, if you don't want to look at all those prog charts, is just looking at the wind finder forecast. We're going to look at the 5 and 10 hour forecast here. So this is for our 5 and 10 hour trips. This is about 10 to 12 miles from shore. You can see where that front, this is the prefrontal activity. This is the day the front actually comes into the area. This is when the front moves out of the area and that high pressure settles on us. Then you have a little bit of disturbance as that low pressure and high pressure kind of touch, and then it's going to get really nice behind it. So this is the wind pattern. These graphs that you see are wind patterns. And you can see Friday, this coming Friday, they're calling 10-foot seas, 11-foot seas now. It got even stronger. So definitely not a good sign right now, but we're hoping that will change. It did just pop up. So we're going to go out here to the 12-hour extreme and 39-hour forecast and see what it says. So they're calling for 15-foot seas. Holy cow, almost 16-foot seas and wind gusts over tropical storm force. So that right there is not good. So hopefully all this will change, but long story short, again, the best weather is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. So tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely the best days to go. Tuesday's looking like the best day now. Tuesday, less than 1 foot, definitely the perfect day to go fishing. And guess what? Tuesday, we have a brand new 12-hour extreme in the system for you guys. It's got tons of room on it still, so if you want a chance to take advantage of that beautiful weather coming up Tuesday, that 12-hour extreme, Captain Anthony, we already showed you. They're killing the gags. They've been catching a ton of them, and you should have a great opportunity to catch another 20 keeper gags, if not more. So definitely want to take advantage of those beautiful weather windows this time of year, because they can be few and far between. Just 2 days ago, I was talking to our film crew at Salt Strong. We're supposed to be doing a snapper mastery course, a mangrove snapper mastery course. And I said, this weather looks great Monday through Friday. Thursday's the best day. Let's go film then. And then all of a sudden, Monday, I look at the forecast and this front popped out of nowhere. And now Thursday's looking not so good. So the weather can change very rapidly. You really got to pay attention to it. And the website gives you a great tool. Also on the website, I wanted to show you, I forgot to show you before I close the page. So let me open it back up for you. Again, hubbardsmarina.com. Also on our website, we have the fishing tips and tricks page. Under the fishing tips and tricks page, we've got the estimated seasons, and we've got tons of videos, including our new video, how to brine your bait, how to rig a double snell rig, how to tie a kingfish stinger rig. And then under fishing trips, we also have our Bass Pro fishing seminars page, where it talks all about our latest and upcoming Bass Pro Shop seminar, how to find the Bass Pro Shop seminar where we do seminars, and it has all the latest seminars. So if you want to listen to an hour-long fishing seminar on nearshore and offshore fishing with tons of tips and tricks in it, these videos are awesome resources for you. Plus, hopefully you enjoy our live stream show. We have a page on our website dedicated to our live stream show. I talked about it earlier in the show, how funny last week's show was, and that's posted right here. This was week before last, actually, with Captain Frank. It was a pretty good one. If you ever want to watch past live stream shows, you can always tune in here. You can see how bad my first one was and how much better they got over time. It's pretty funny to see that myself. So definitely got a lot of cool stuff on our website, and we're adding stuff all the time. So definitely check out that website. Even if you're not fishing with us, even if you have your own boat, even if you fish on a buddy's boat, even if you hate Hubbard's Marina and you never want to fish on our party boats or charter boats, that is a great tool for you to check the weather, look at those fishing tips and tricks videos. We talk about how to tie certain rigs, and hopefully we can help you learn a few tips and tricks from that website. Now, we talked a little bit about live bait. Live bait has been an issue. We had red tide move into the area late August, early September. That red tide hung around all of September, all of October, most of November, and then finally early December it's moved out of our area. It's gone. It's not in Pinellas County, hasn't been in Pinellas County for more than 2 weeks. So it's beautiful around our area now. No red tide, no red tide effects. However, we catch pinfish, we catch our live pinfish, pigfish, and squirrelfish about a mile to about 5 miles from the beach, anywhere from 2 or 3 miles north to 2 or 3 miles south of us. And that area had red tide sitting in it for almost 6 weeks, more than 6 weeks, more than 8 weeks, really. And so it just got socked in with this red tide and wiped out the pinfish, pigfish, and all the other live bait that we use for our trips. So it really, really stinks, and it's tough to catch live bait. Right now, we have some new live bait guys, some new bait people that are helping us out. They're catching live bait at the Skyway and trucking it up to us, but it's been a lot more difficult. It's not as consistent. We don't have as much control over the supply. So unfortunately, we're still struggling to get live bait, but we have live bait more often than not now behind this red tide. So that is good news, but the trick is getting a consistent person. And as of the January 1st, we have a new gentleman starting. He's going to take over our bait area. And finally, we're going to have some consistency. I'm hoping and praying that'll work out for us. So after the first of the year, this will be history, hopefully. And we'll have fiddler crabs, we'll have live shrimp, we'll have live pinfish, and we're going to have live white bait for sale consistently as well. So pretty cool stuff coming in our live bait department for 2019 at Hubbard's Marina. Hogfish. Hogfish is something we wanted to talk about. It's a great time of year to catch hogfish. Hogfish bites only going to get better as we move into 2019 and in the spring of 2019. As the water cools off, those hogfish get more aggressive. They live in harems. So wherever you see one male hogfish, you're going to have a bunch of other female hogfish. Typically for one male, there's about 5 to 7 female hogfish. So if you catch a keeper-sized hogfish, there's easily a half dozen more around, if not twice or 3 times that number. So if you catch a couple males, there's another 20, 30 hogfish down there for you to catch. The trick with hogfish is they're very leader shy. Those hogfish are going to be some of the last species to bite. Now, they can be kind of leader shy. They can be a little bit finicky. The trick is to try to feed everything else or get everything else out of the way. We like to anchor up on a piece of hard bottom, whether that's a small ledge, a small rock pile, or a flat piece of hard bottom with some cracks. They love sea fans. Sea fans are a hogfish paradise. So they love hugging up to those sea fans. So the trick is finding that area where you have hogfish bottom. Once you find that area, you got to anchor up and make sure your bait is getting to the structure where the hogfish are, not your boat. Just because you put your boat on a spot doesn't mean your bait is on the spot. So make sure your bait is getting to the area where the hogfish are. Then you need to start fishing. What we like doing is we like putting 20, 30, 40 people down with live shrimp and get a bunch of shrimp smell going in the water and catch all those gray snapper, porgies, sea bass, vermilion snapper, those more aggressive fish, get them out of the way, mangrove snapper, lane snapper. Once all those fish stop biting, that's when you start catching the hogfish. Typically, the porgies are going to be some of the last species that you start catching, and then all of a sudden the hogfish light switch gets flicked and you start catching hogs. They bite very, very weak sometimes. Other times they hit like a freight train, but those hogfish, pound for pound, are some of the toughest fighting fish. So you're using light tackle. I love our Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rods. We have some of the sickest custom rods by Bull Bay. Whether you want a conventional rod, a spinning rod, awesome rods that Bull Bay Rods made for us at Hubbard's Marina, we have in our shop. So you want something with a super sensitive tip, something that's light but that has a good backbone so you can fight that strong hogfish. Then you want a strong enough reel. I like using a 4 or 5000 series spinning reel or my 2-speed conventional reel. I'll start in a high speed, and if he's too big I can drop it down to low speed. Lighter is better, but a lot of guys even use like 1-ounce egg sinkers and about 15 to 20 feet of fluorocarbon, and then typically about a 4/0 hook with a piece of shrimp or a fiddler crab or a sand flea or even rock shrimp work well. But shrimp is the most common bait for hogfish. You just have to go through a lot of them to get that first hogfish because everything out there bites a shrimp. If you use sand fleas or fiddler crabs or rock shrimp, you're not going to catch as much bycatch. You're not going to get as many grunts, porgies, sea bass, mangrove snapper, lane snapper using those fiddler crabs, sand fleas, or rock shrimp. But when you get a fish, most of the time it's going to be one of those crustacean-eaten, hard to catch hogfish, or sometimes the sea bass love those crustaceans as well. So basically you got to weed through the other fish. If you don't have 20, 30, 40 people on the boat with you, you're not fishing a party boat, you're fishing one of your buddy's boat, or you're fishing a smaller private charter. One of my favorite things to do is use the Aquatic Nutrition Sport Fishing Chum Super Shrimps. The Super Shrimps is a great chum. It's a hard pellet. It's fast sinking. You can spread that around up tide. It's going to sink down to where your baits are very quickly. If you don't have any of that, you can just take a bunch of the dead shrimp. I like putting it in a bucket with a little bit of water and taking some bait shears and just going to town until you have small little chunks of shrimp, a half bucket or so full of them. And I'll drain all the water out of it, and you can put it in a brown paper bag. And then you take a large conventional reel, a 50, 60, 80 pound test. You put about 3 big 6 or 8 ounce egg sinkers on the line and tie a swivel. So you have the main line with 2 or 3 egg sinkers on it and a swivel, and you can drop that whole chain of leads in your swivel on your main line into that brown paper bag with all your shrimp chunks, and then you close the top of that brown paper bag around the weights with a bunch of rubber bands. Make sure it's nice and tight. So now you have a brown paper bag filled with egg sinkers and bits of shrimp, and you can drop that down to the bottom quickly, and that's going to hit the bottom, and that brown paper bag is going to get wet. And all you have to do is work your rod tip up and down a few times, and that brown paper bag will explode. All those bits of shrimp explode out into the water column, and you just rang the dinner bell. Now, if you're on a party boat with 20, 30 other people, you don't have to do that because everybody's using shrimp. You get plenty of chum in the water very quickly. Now, if you're fishing with 2 or 3 or 4 other guys, using that method, which I call a chum bomb, works very well if you don't have some of that nice Aquatic Nutrition Sport Fishing Chum Super Shrimp that sinks to the bottom really quickly. I used to have a bag right there. I don't. But if you don't have that chum, you can use that chum bomb method. So long story short, once everything else stops feeding, that's when you start catching those hogfish. Once you hook 1 or 2, you'll catch a few more, and then as quickly as they started feeding, they're going to stop feeding. Once those hogfish stop feeding, you got to move to the next spot. So definitely a little tricky to get on them. Sometimes you'll catch them with 60-pound tests and a 7/0 circle hook. Sometimes you need 20-pound fluorocarbon and a 3/0 hook and just a little piece of shrimp. I mean, they're one of the most wild fish, hook and line. They are a wrasse, not a snapper. So typically they're a little higher in the water column, and they're going to come down to the bottom and feed with their nose in the sand or the gravel or on the rock, looking for those crustaceans on the bottom. So most of the time when you're diving, you're going to see them along the bottom. But when you drop a camera down, most of the time they're 3, 4, 5 feet off the bottom, looking down, waiting to ambush some crustaceans. So they're a very unique species. Everybody's got their favorite way to target them. but hopefully I gave you some tips there that will help you catch a few more of them. We do have, again, on the fishing tips page of our website, again, hubbardsmarina.com, under fishing tips, you can go to fishing tips and tricks. Under fishing tips and tricks, I did a Salt Strong episode with Luke and Joe Simons, all about how to catch hogfish, so you can check that out if you want a little bit more information there on those good eaten, one of the best eaten in my opinion, hogfish. So hopefully you guys have some questions. This is a Q&A show. This isn't just me talking. So I'm going to read through some of your comments, and hopefully you guys have some questions. Make sure you comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Please like and share this video stream. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'd appreciate it as well. So this gentleman, Capper, said, how's the Tuesday weather looking? Is there enough people for the extreme to go out? Right now, the weather is looking gorgeous for Tuesday. Tuesday is the best weather day in the next 5-6 days, so definitely looking great. Now, 2 days ago, Thursday was the best weather day, so that can change, but right now, Tuesday is looking bad to the bone. Less than 2-foot seas, perfect weather conditions, and awesome opportunities to catch gag grouper on that extreme trip. We should have enough to go out. That shouldn't be a problem. It's going to be a lighter load, unfortunately, but that's good for you. That's going to be a lot less lines in the water, a lot more one-on-one time at the captain and crew, and we're definitely going to go out there because that gag bite is just so crazy right now. We can't leave them alone. So we are going fishing Tuesday on that 12-hour extreme. Hopefully you can join us. So let's see what other questions we have here. Calvin Switzer said, how's the Sunday 10-hour look with that front coming in? Sunday should be okay weather behind the front. We've got a high pressure building in behind the front, Calvin. So the weather should calm down very quickly behind Thursday's prefrontal activity. Friday's the actual front. Saturday's still going to be a little turbulent. Sunday, it should calm down pretty quickly. But if the water gets really cold, the temperatures drop, the barometer drops, then a high pressure comes in. The barometer's been doing this. The air temperature is going to be cold. The fishing might be a little bit slow Sunday behind the front, but as that barometer stabilizes, the water calms down and clears up, those fish should turn back on for us. So really going to kind of be wait and see on that, Calvin. It's too early to tell. This time of year, it's almost impossible for me to look at the weather and say this is what the weather is doing more than 48 to 72 hours out. I talked about it earlier in the video. I'm supposed to be filming this week with Salt Strong, and I told them Thursday is the best weather day. Thursday looks great. By Sunday night, everything had changed. So it's very frustrating this time of year to try to plan anything in advance. That's why it works so well for locals and people who are in town for a week or a week and a half. You can get here, you can talk to us, you can look at our weather links page, and you can plan your trip based on the weather. Because if you have a week or a week and a half time frame, you're almost guaranteed to have a few days during that time period where the weather is perfect. But you have to capitalize on it as quickly as possible. And you have to look into the future and try to request off work and try to pick what you think is going to be a good weather day, and then just pay attention, and hopefully that weather will hold true. But it's very difficult, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating for me as a business owner. It's frustrating for me as a fishing friend of a lot of you guys. I want to take you fishing. I don't want to cancel trips, but ultimately the weather is in control. So wait and see, man. Enjoyed, Bill Rodriguez said he enjoyed his 39-hour on 12-4. Great crew. Hats off to Will and Jason. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you joining us on a 39-hour trip. I'm glad you enjoyed the crew out there. Denoris Hall said, when amberjacks, gags, and red snapper are out of season in January, what do you target during the 39 and 44-hour trips? Well, it's a great time in January, February for tuna. Some of the best times of the year are those new moon and full moon trips in January. So a great time for tuna. We have red grouper. We've got scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, yellowtail snapper, vermilion snapper, porgies. We've got a ton of different species out there besides just red snapper, gags, and amberjack. So January is still a great time to go, and the trips are super light. Typically, our January trips have 25, 30 people at most. So a ton of room around the boat, a lot of one-on-one time with the crew, tons of room to troll for those tuna and kingfish that linger offshore in January. And you might even see a wahoo or two. So definitely a great time to do those 39-hour trips. And during the day, the big target is red grouper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, porgies, vermilions, and whatever else is lurking past 100 foot of water on that 39-hour trip. So let's see what other questions you guys have. Make sure to comment where you're watching from. Comment any questions you guys have. And make sure to like the video for me, guys. Rick Schumann said, is January a good month for hogfish? Yes, we catch a ton of hogfish. January, February, March, and even into April, and sometimes into May. We catch hogfish all year round, but I would say the best time for hogfish is definitely November through about April. When the water is cooler, the hogfish are more aggressive, they're more prolific, and we seem to catch more of them on hook and line. In the summertime, we still catch hogfish, but most of them are shot by spear fishermen in the summertime when the water's warmer, and they get a little bit more leader shy and less aggressive. So definitely, water's cooler. The divers aren't out there as much. They don't have as much pressure from spear fishermen. They seem to feed a lot better for us on hook and line. So let's see what other questions we have. Danny Corvin said, what's in season January 25th on the 39-hour trip? One great thing about our website, again, guys, when you go to hubbardsmarina.com, all you have to do is go to fishing trips and then go down to fishing rules and regulations. Our fishing rules and regulations page has all about the Fish Rules app, which the federal government uses to update their federal fishing regulations. So you can download the Fish Rules app and use that, or you can scroll down here on the fishing rules page of Hubbard's Marina, again under fishing trip, fishing rules and regs. If you scroll down on that page, you can click here to view what fish are in season. This is going to take you to the Gulf Council's website. That's the federal management body of the Gulf of Mexico. And this is going to show you up to date what's in season and when. Now, it's still 2018, so unfortunately, they still have the 2018 stuff up here. But it will change here very shortly. And the big thing that's open in January, we've got the red grouper, we've got scamp grouper, excuse me, red grouper, scamp grouper, and we've got tons of other fish available. So red grouper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, yellowtail snapper, everything is open. Great time for tuna. Oops, I got to switch back to my webcam. There we go. What we don't have open is going to be red snapper, gags, and amberjack. Everything else is open. So a lot of fish open for you in January to go catch. And the loads on the trips are super light. So it's a great opportunity. Calvin Switzer said, my 2 young sons and I are doing the 10-hour this coming Sunday. We rented rods from y'all as well, but we are bringing our own too. What line, leader, and hook would you recommend? We're trying to get some grouper. Now, definitely a great opportunity for you this weekend for some grouper on the 10-hour. We've been catching a lot of grouper on our 10-hour trips. Again, at hubbardsmarina.com, I personally wrote every single piece of information on this website. So when you go to fishing trips, you can go to 10-hour all-day trip. All this information is written by me personally, and I've got a ton of information on here. A lot of people say I have too much information, but hey, that's the way I like it, and hopefully that's what you guys enjoy as well. So you ask what kind of tackle we recommend. There's almost 3 paragraphs there on what kind of tackle we recommend for a 10-hour trip. But since you asked here on our live Q&A show, we'll talk about it. For gag grouper on a 10-hour trip, I personally like my 2-speed Daiwa Saltiga reel, and I love that Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina custom rod. It's got plenty of strength. It's super light, super sensitive. I mean, I can feel my pinfish fart. It's that sensitive. It's nuts. So I love that rod and reel combo, but all you need is something that's going to be strong enough to yank that grouper off the bottom, and something sensitive enough to where you're able to feel the bite. You need a reel with at least 35, 40 pounds of drag, and at least a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 gear ratio. You don't want a super high gear ratio for those gags. You need at least 60 or 80 pound main line, and at least an 80 to 100 pound leader. Typically about 80 pound is what I'd use on that 10-hour party boat trip. And I would use a double thread fin with the tails cut, and I'd put my thumb on the spool and I'd drop that bait to bottom much slower by putting more pressure on the spool with my thumb. That thumb is going to act as a brake, because as those double thread fins go down to the bottom, they're going to spin, they're going to helicopter. So you want to make sure you're putting more pressure on the spool with your thumb to make sure those double baits don't spin and tangle your line on the way to bottom. So you drop that double thread fin down real slowly, and you'll have a great opportunity for gag grouper. For your young sons, I would not recommend them doing that method. I would have them stick to 30, 40 pound leader, a little 4/0 hook, and a cube of that squid we provide, and they're going to catch the heck out of gray snapper, also known as white grunts, porgies, sea bass. All they need is 30, 40 pound fluorocarbon leader, 4/0 hook, and about a 3-ounce lead with about 40 to 60 pound main line. I like a high speed reel for those fish, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1 gear ratio. Or you can even get away with a large spinning rod. If you're just using that cube of squid or a live shrimp, you can use a 5000 series or even a 4000 series spinning rod. Something you would use for snook inshore, you can use that rod offshore if you're using that cube of squid and not putting down live pinfish or big baits or big thread fins. You can definitely get away with using some of that lighter tackle. So hopefully that answered your question, Calvin. But again, on our website under fishing trips, you can pick out any one of our trips, and there's huge tackle suggestion paragraphs that I wrote. So Zach Laurenti said, not an offshore question, what's your favorite trout lure in the wintertime? Hands down, my favorite trout lure any time of year is a DOA shrimp. In the winter time, I'm going to work that DOA shrimp super slow. The reason for that is as the water cools inshore, those trout get super lethargic. They're up there on the shallower mud flats, warming themselves in shallower water. They're very spooky, but they're very lethargic. So they're not going to want to chase something that's moving fast. Those DOA shrimp are made to mimic a shrimp. So you have to retrieve that shrimp super slowly. You've ever seen a shrimp move in your bait bucket? They're not going anywhere fast. They're moving very slowly. So you got to barely retrieve that shrimp very slow. If you think you're going slow enough, slow down even more. Very, very tricky bait to master. But if you master that DOA shrimp, it is deadly. I never use anything else for trout. DOA shrimp, definitely one of my favorite. Mirror lure is a great second option. I love the mirror deans. They work really well for trout, but they make those soft jerk baits. The Paul Brown series, I think they're called. I really like those as well for trout. I did a lot of trout fishing growing up. I don't do any trout fishing nowadays, but definitely the DOA shrimp is my favorite. You just kind of adapt your technique. In the winter time, they're in shallower, warmer waters, and they're much slower moving, so you got to slow your baits down. So Aggie Brown said, "Do you think the Friday trip I'm on with my sons will be canceled?" Again, if you go to hubbardsmarina.com under fishing trips, you can go to weather links. You can look at the 5-hour forecast. And Friday right now, Aggie, they're calling 10-foot seas. So with 10-foot seas in the forecast, if that does not change, if that does not considerably get better, yes, we're going to have to cancel Friday. I would strongly recommend to everybody watching this video, take advantage of the less than 2 foot or the 2.5 foot seas Monday, or the less than 2 foot seas on Tuesday, or the gorgeous conditions Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely looking best. Thursday, it's already forecasted around 4 foot. Friday, they're calling 9 to 10 foot. So definitely, definitely want to switch to Monday through Wednesday if you're available, Aggie. That's going to be much more enjoyable for you and your sons. Let's see what other questions we have here. Justin said, will this weekend be good or too rough with the cold front that literally just popped up? Definitely going to be super rough Friday, very rough Saturday, a little rough Thursday. So Monday through Wednesday, hands down, the best days to go. Garrett Easley said, what is the rule for circle hooks for reef fish? The rule is when you're offshore fishing in federal waters using natural bait for reef species, natural bait meaning dead bait, live bait, you have to use a circle hook. So whenever fishing in federal waters for reef fish, snapper, grouper, amberjack, with natural bait, you have to use a circle hook. But if you use the proper techniques, the proper dehookers, the proper handling techniques, you're able to vent that fish quickly. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if you're using a circle hook or a J hook. You just have to know that technique. And we teach you on our longer range trips how to vent fish. We even give you venting tools if you don't have them. And we'll show you how to use the dehookers. We sell them in our shop. They work awesome. Definitely recommend getting to know how to use them. And we are not a police force. It's not my duty to enforce laws, especially laws that I don't agree with. But we are not going to let you blatantly break the law. We're not going to break the law because we are a business and we have to protect our livelihood. So if you rent a rod and reel from us, all you get is circle hooks. That's all we have on the boat because that's the law. But if you bring your own rod and reel and you bring your own tackle box, we're not going to search your tackle box for J hooks. And if you're using a J hook, I can guarantee you that I'm not going to go up and down the boat and look at what type of hook you're using. But if you catch an undersized fish or an out-of-season fish, or if you're doing something funky, then we're going to have a problem. But as long as you're venting and releasing fish and practicing good conservation efforts, we're not going to have any issues. George Paul said, how deep are you fishing on the 12-hour trip Tuesday? Our 12-hour extreme typically fishes 70 to 100 miles from shore and 120 to 250 foot of water, but those gags are moving in. We're fishing shallower waters, anywhere from 40 to about 80, 90 foot of waters where the gags are right now, and that's where we're catching 90% of our gag grouper. We're not fishing in the middle grounds, we're not fishing in the elbow, and we're not even fishing close to those areas right now. The gag bite is hot. Inshore, they're catching gags at the Skyway, so there's no reason to run past the fish to go find fish. We know where the fish are. Captain Anthony got 20 gags on the last extreme trip, fishing around 60 to around 90 foot of water. Closer to that 90 foot of water mark than 60 foot of water, but that's the depth range. So we're not fishing very deep. We are fishing very far. It's still a long run, but we're not fishing very deep. How deep and where and what direction, we can't tell you. You're going to have to book a trip to find that out. But the gag bite is stupid hot right now, and we have them dialed in for sure. Definitely seeing them anywhere from 30, 40 foot of water out to about 80, 90 foot. And definitely the ledges are where they're going to be at. artificial reefs or wrecks, you're not going to see gags very much. George Paul, those areas are pretty hard hit. Behind a cold front, like the nasty weather we have forecasted currently for Friday, behind that super bad weather, those artificial reefs, they will hold some nice huge gags. But it's hard to get past those Goliath grouper and sharks that you have at artificial reefs. You go out there and use those little ledges and those smaller rock piles, that's where you're going to get those keeper gags more consistently. Dan Swanson asked about the Flying Hub 2 and its new motors. We're having a lot of issues with the Flying Hub 2's new motors, and we're actually getting rid of the new motors here very shortly. We have, since the boat was built, we had Yamaha 300s on them. They worked great. They just quite weren't big enough, so we went to Yamaha 350s. Boat performed awesome. We had plenty of speed, but the lower units kept crapping out on us. We went through 7 lower units in 2018 alone due to those Yamaha 350s, and Yamaha really stopped working with us on replacing those lower units. So then we went to Mercury 350s. They claimed that that smaller block would be able to have the same power, the same juice, the same torque, would be able to push the boat, but it's just not getting the job done. Boats not it. The Mercury has a lot of top end and they work great on small boats, but on a big heavy hydrofoil custom built, first of its kind in the entire nation Flying Hub 2 with those hydrofoils, it's just not enough oomph or power and torque to keep it up on that wing efficiently. So we're getting rid of the Mercuries. January 1st, the boat's going out of service for, I don't know exactly when the date is, but sometime in January, we're going to pull the Flying Hub 2 out of service behind the close of gag grouper season, and we're going to redo the motors again. I'm pushing for the Yamaha 425s, but my dad's a little leery of Yamaha because they're not working with us on warranties. They're not working with us on pricing very much, and the lower unit issues we have with the 350s was a nightmare. We're a little leery of Mercury because what they said about the 350s didn't hold true. The Suzuki 350, we've heard a lot of good things about it. It has 2 props on it. It's supposed to have a lot of torque. It's a bigger motor block than a Mercury. It's a bigger block than even the Yamaha. So we're thinking about going to Suzuki, but we're willing to try anything. We want to get this boat dialed in, and we've got plans drawn up for a Flying Hub 3. We've got the boat builder picked out. We've got the design done. So we've got a Flying Hub 3 with quad motors in the works. But because of the issues with red grouper, because of the issues with gag grouper coming up, because of some of the federal fishing stuff that's going on, we're kind of waiting to see how the regulations shake out before we spend another $1 million on a crazy cool Flying Hub 3. But that's definitely in the works, guys, so stay tuned for that. Definitely want to try to stay ahead of the curve at Hubbard's Marina, and that's how we do it, by listening to our fishing friends like you guys and constantly try to reinvent the wheel and keep cool boats on the water. So we definitely have some cool stuff in the works. I appreciate your questions, Dan. Right now, the Flying Hub 2 is running, though. We are killing the fish on that boat, and it still is running fast, but it's not running as fast as we would like. And we went from burning 250, 300 gallons of fuel to burning 400 gallons of fuel, literally almost burning the money and really not making much money on these trips anymore because of fuel burn. But because it's gag grouper season, because the gag bite is so hot, because we have so many people wanting to go fishing, we don't want to pull the Flying Hub 2 out of service until gags close. So that's what we've got going on there. So Chuck Hendershot said, what's your favorite fish to eat, Dylan? One of my favorites, I would have to say I have a top 5. I can't say that I have a favorite fish because I love all fish. I definitely like smaller fish. Those bigger fish, in my opinion, not so good. If I catch a 30-inch gag grouper, you can have it. I don't want it. I'm a little spoiled when it comes to fresh fish, luckily, but I like a small scamp grouper. Those 16, 18-inch scamps are probably one of my favorite if not my favorite. Hogfish is very high up there. Those small red hinds are what people call strawberry grouper. You get a little 10, 12-inch fish like that. That is probably my favorite as well. I really like, I like everything, man, but definitely hogfish, scamp grouper, red hind, or strawberry grouper would probably be my top three. But barrel fish that we catch on those deep drops, very good. Small snowy grouper, very good. Mutton snapper is very good. Yellowtail snapper is very good. But I would have to say it's tied between scamp grouper, strawberry grouper, and hogfish for first place. And now I'm hungry. Thank you, Chuck. So what other questions here? Art Hill said, on your concrete interview, you mentioned local charter captains will need a vessel monitoring system next year. How do they get a demo device early so they don't have to pay for it once it's mandated? There is a special program going on, Art Hill, that a local group is doing through a grant, and all the fisheries management information, the intricacies of federal fisheries, we're building CaptainDylanHubbard.com, and I'm going to be posting all the federal fishing regulations, issues, and that's where we're going to kind of have a blog to keep a lot of people updated. But right now you can do this. You can go on to Facebook.com, and once you're on Facebook, you can go to our page that we have going on called Fishermen United, and this is a page that I created, not a bunch of people on it right now. But this page has where I'm posting a bunch of stuff, and we talk a lot about the Woods Hole Group or CLS America proposed changes and all the different rules there. So that page is where you find all that information, and where you can stay tuned. When I go to the National Marine Fisheries meetings every 2 months, I always post from the meetings to that Fishermen United page. And we're going to build out that CaptainDylanHubbard.com website where we're going to be adding more information too. But I'm thinking about running for a Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council seat. So if anybody knows the governor of Florida or a senator that you'd like to introduce me to help me run for a National Marine Fisheries Gulf Council seat, let me know. All right, Curious Yellow Solar on YouTube said, how's the bite in the middle grounds? Again, right now we're not really fishing the middle grounds because the gangs are so close. The weather's been so turbulent. We've been fishing closer to shore and doing very well. Let's see what other questions. Robert Eaton asked about the Florida Fisherman. It should be back in service middle of this week if everything goes well with the transmission and the Coast Guard signs off for it. Do you ever catch sheep's head on the all day? No, typically we catch sheep's head on the dock or near shore. Sheep's head do go offshore typically this time of year to spawn, but that's most of the time over super large structure like artificial reefs and wrecks, and that's typically something that happens above the water, and they're out there to spawn, so they don't bite as often. But behind cold fronts, when the water's super stirred up, if you go to some of the near shore, shallow water artificial reefs, you can find huge schools of sheep's head that tear up little bits of live shrimp, fiddler crabs, or sand fleas. Happy Angler on YouTube said, do you sell squid wings, or where can I get them? We buy squid wings by the 20-pound bag, and we do sell them by the 20-pound bag. It's not too cheap. I think off the top of my head, I want to say it's like $50 to $70, depending on the price that we get them for. But we do sell large bulk squid wings at Hubbard's Marina. Let's see. Video uploads from YouTube said, hey, I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody at the office to look up Monday, Wednesday special hub trips. Are there any spots available? Our office closed today at 1 o'clock for our holiday party, so no one was in the office. And even if we were in the office, our office closes at 7 p.m. this time of year, so that's why you weren't able to reach anybody. You can always book at hubbardsmarina.com, but our special hub trips, we added them last week, and they sold out in like 24 to 48 hours. So there's no room on those hub trips Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, unfortunately. And there is no trolling from the hub because the boat's moving at about 14 to 15 knots. It's a little too fast to troll, unfortunately. All of our private charters boats move a little too fast to troll. You can troll on our 5-hour half day, our 39-hour, our 44-hour, and some of the 10-hour all days on the party boats, but most of the time just the 5 hours, and then the 39 and 44 hours are the trips you can troll on. Or you can book a private charter and then we can slow the boat down. It's up to you, and then we can troll. Nas Yelik on YouTube said, what is the best rod and reel combos for trolling on the way out? Do you have these in the shop? We do have a bunch of trolling rod and reels in the shop and a lot of great combos for it. And on our website under fishing trips, or actually under info, you can get frequently asked questions. And on our frequently asked questions page, we have a large trolling section down here at the bottom. There it is, almost at the bottom. We've added some more stuff. So the trolling questions talks about what rod and reel combos we prefer and what tackle and what hooks and stuff work well. But long story short, a great trolling combo for trolling is anything that's going to be large enough to have the line capacity and the power to retrieve these fish while the boat's moving. Because these are bottom fishing trips, so everybody else on the boat wants to go bottom fishing, so we can't slow the boat every time you catch a mackerel or a bonita or a small kingfish. If you catch a huge billfish or a 100-pound wahoo, we'll slow the boat down for that. But most of the fish you catch, you have to retrieve to the boat while the boat's moving, so you need a bigger reel. We have the Shimano TLD 50 VSLRW or whatever it is. We have that in our shop. We've got some large Penn 9-knots that work well. We have some Penn International options. You can order a bunch of reels from us. But we typically do the Shimano TLD 50 2-speed, and it's about $3.99. You get 10% off when you book a trip with us. We have rods ranging from $90 upwards of $300 for trolling as well. So we have a lot of different combos you can put together in our shop. Let's see here. Rocky Top Florida on YouTube said, can you do dual hook action? Yes, you can do a double snell rig. They work very well on the boats. And on our fishing tips page, you can find how to rig and how to tie a double snell rig. hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, then click fishing tips and tricks. You can find those videos. Robert Eaton on YouTube said, did you try the new Hondas? Well, as far as I know, the largest motor Honda makes is a 300. We use Honda on our Dolphin boat and on our water taxi, and we love Honda engines, but they don't make a big enough engine for the Flying Hub 2. Nothing over either 250 or 300. They don't make a 350, and they don't have anything bigger than that, unfortunately. So, looks like we talked about all the questions you guys have, and hopefully I answered all the questions you guys have. We'll go back through the comments to make sure we didn't miss anything. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Comment, let me know how we did tonight. Hopefully you had a good time. Remember, these are every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. You can join us for the show next week. We'd love to have you join us. And don't forget, our next Bass Pro Shop seminar is coming up January 12th, 2 p.m. Join us for that. You could win a 5-hour half day for 2 people or a 10-hour all day for 2 people. All you have to do is join us at Bass Pro Shops January 12th. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. Monday through Wednesday this week looks like the best weather, the best fishing opportunities. Please book that 12-hour extreme trip Tuesday. The weather is going to be perfect. The gag bite is hot. So book that trip now. You can go to hubbardsmarina.com, click reservations and fishing trip reservations. Book your extreme trip now. And have a good night, guys. We'll see you next week, Sunday. Captain Dylan Hubbard signing off, guys.